ready to talk hockey. Streaming from the Oilers Live Studio. Subscribe or follow today.
Hey, it's Michael here with Oilers Live. Just going to have a little bit of fun tonight. We're going to stream a little bit of a, I don't know if you want to call it a watch party or what you want to call it, because none of us are cheering for either team, I think. But we're going to sit here, maybe talk a little bit of hockey, watch the Flames and Dallas Stars, and maybe tune into the Rangers and Pittsburgh as that game goes into overtime. And just watch those games, talk some hockey, interact. If you're on Twitter, unfortunately, we can't see what you're saying, but if you tune into youtube.ca/heavyhockey, you can chat on there, or on Facebook/Oilers Podcast, you can tune in there, and feel free to chat with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'll interact with everybody there, but we're going to talk as well some Oilers hockey, and just watching this Dallas Stars Flames game right now. Stars are up 1-0 after an early Ben goal. Just curious, did either of you cheer when that happened, or did you just not care at all? I'll be honest, I cheer. Like, anytime Calgary gets scored against, I can't help but have a little bit of a smile crack across my face. What about you guys?
Oh yeah, there was definitely cheering going on. definitely cheered.
Flames have turned it up though since.
So
yeah, they're still losing though.
Yeah.
Penguins just took a penalty in overtime there.
Overtime.
Yeah, so big power play coming up for the Rangers. I'll keep you posted on that one. And yeah, I wasn't sad to see Stars go up to a 1-0 lead and make Calgary feel pretty nervous. That, I'm not against that.
Yeah, it takes the crowd right out of it early. Yeah, and that, last night's game, Game 7 is just, like, it's awful, isn't it? I mean, as a fan, like the first, until your team scores that opener, if they don't score the opener, it just, your, heart goes, like, falls out, and everything's the worst. I mean, I can't imagine what Flames fans must be feeling, but I'm loving it. Whatever it is.
Well, last night, I mean, we had such a strong first period, and to get out of that, at 0-0, that doesn't do anything for the nerves at all.
No, I know. Ryan, you were at the game, right?
Yeah, I was.
Could you
I
feel
couldn't
the
stop
tension?
smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
But
it must have been.
I was
pretty
oddly
tense.
relaxed, honestly.
Oh, yeah?
Like I just had a good, strong feeling about the Oilers. Like, yeah, the Kings gave us a good series, and they were tough to play against. But I just had a feeling that Connor and Leon were going to raise up another level, and Connor especially did.
Yeah,
you're watching that game, and you keep waiting for the Kings kind of to take it over a little bit, and it never happened. They never let them.
No, not at all. That was the most one-sided game we saw throughout the whole series, I thought. Yeah. Sorry, Ryan.
Especially that second period. Like, what did they get? 17 shots before the Kings got one? Like, that was an unbelievable period.
Oh, it was unreal. Yeah, it was. And I tell you, I mean, I can't believe I still have to say this, but if there's ever any doubt that Connor McDavid is the best player in the world, like, those last two games should at the very least erase that doubt. It won't, because there'll always be somebody that says player X is greater than Connor McDavid, but I mean,
there's literally no data points for them to go on anymore. Like, there's zero argument. I don't see any point for any other player on the planet that would be better than Connor McDavid. Like, sorry, just don't see it.
Yeah, he literally willed the team, and then the game prior that went into OT, if you want to call it that. I mean, him and Draisaitl willed that game in the third. Like, I tell you this, it was earlier this year. I was talking with a friend about Sidney Crosby, because I remember I was at a Pittsburgh versus Edmonton game. I was at the game, and of course Pittsburgh in town, and Sidney Crosby decided that he'd had enough. And you sense the whole, like, the world change at that moment, right? Like that's how great Sidney Crosby is. And I was one of those guys that, while I accepted that Connor was the best player in the world, I also wouldn't have argued anybody who said Crosby was the best player. Like he's just too good. And I always thought that though the difference between Crosby and Connor at that point in time earlier this year, I said was, you rarely, like, you didn't see Connor do that yet, like in a playoff game where he just decided that enough was enough. And I felt like a build-up before the playoffs even started that Connor was ready. Yeah.
The Rangers just advanced on a
Oh,
goal.
no way.
On a goal from Panarin. There was probably about 12 seconds left on the power play there, and Madison Square Gardens is going off, and the Penguins are going home.
Speaking about Crosby, eh? Yeah, there it's updated on NHL.com. Well, you heard it here first. Breaking news. Breaking news. Right there.
That's a heck of a win by the Rangers. They were down 3-1 to the Penguins of all teams. Like that Penguins team, that core is a group of guys that knows how to win. They're a little
not having Yari and not having Crosby last game though. That's going to be the difference, right? Like the Penguins can't win without those two.
No, for sure. I mean, Game 5, Crosby goes out of the game. That was the series turning point for sure.
It's going to be a hard one for the Pens to swallow, knowing they were 11 seconds or 12 seconds away from killing off, that power play in overtime, and being able to reset and get after.
Shannon's listening in on Facebook. He says the Oilers were ready and prepared like I've never seen before. They were calm and in control, and both goalies were awesome. That's true, right? Like, is that a Woodcroft thing, guys? Like this, like the way those guys came prepared last night?
I absolutely think that it is. I mean, like, we listened to all the guys in the regular season talking about just how clearly that Woodcroft communicates and how he harps on details. Like, that was not happening as much with Tippett, but Woodcroft's getting the message through to the guys, and he's got them prepared. He's got them ready to go. And I definitely think Woodcroft has a huge impact on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's listening to him speak even after the game last night, and like, classy guy, right? The first things out of his mouth were, congratulating. Why did I go blank?
Mr. Brown?
Yeah, Brown on a great career, and then the whole LA Kings organization, and he's just a classy guy. I mean, it's so hard not to like him. I can't believe after that after Game 5 though, right? Like some of the negativity in Oilers land, right, in oil country. Oh, Mike, you're on mute, maybe. I'm sure it was brilliant, whatever you said.
Probably.
So we might have a couple of the other guys from Heavy Hockey join us. Mike, you back there yet? Nope, still nothing. Well, we'll get Mike back. So what? Tell me about the atmosphere, like actually in Rogers last night.
Like, it was nuts. Like, as soon as you walked in the building, let's back up a little bit. I figured I would be able to kind of sneak in through the plaza, get a sense of that, and then go in that door, because I had been to the plaza for Game 1. I went to Game 1, so checked out the plaza for a little bit. It was pretty quiet. It got a little bit better as it got to game time, but it was still a little quiet. I went for Game 2 and actually stayed for the whole game, and that was pretty good. And then Game 7, I could not walk from the middle of the plaza to the door around the perimeter. Like, it was nuts. Like, it was just packed. And then walking, once I finally got into the place, it was just a different vibe. It was just everyone just so happy, so excited. Like first home game 7 in 32 years, and then just the noise in the building. It's always just loud. You see the decibel meter in the jumbotron, and like I think the highest I ever saw it flash up to was like 126, but like that was for like half a second.
Yeah.
But oh, it was just loud. Everyone was just excited, pumped, and yeah, it was fantastic. Electric.
Ah, it's awesome. I know, Mike, we got you back yet?
I think you do.
Yeah, we sure do. You were at the what are they? Are they calling it the Moss Pit officially, or is that, or is it just Ice District?
I think they are calling it that. That's Dustin Nielsen putting it out there, I think, too.
Yeah, I think it's unofficially the Moss Pit,
Is it
but officially the Ice
unofficially the
District
Moss Pit?
Plaza.
Okay. So the you were at that last night, and it was packed. I understand they were turning people away. What was that like there?
So yeah, I think they registered like 11,000 people or something down in there, and it's kind of, there's a cordon or like there's an area that's kind of enclosed in there, but behind there's more room, and that was full too. So I would say that they had like 11,000 people in the open space, and probably another 3 behind it easily, I would think. And I mean, it was just people everywhere downtown last night. Like, you know, I went to that area and I couldn't find a bathroom, and I had to go really bad. So we started walking kind of west towards the brew house, and found some outhouses behind in the back alley, and 2 of them had padlocks on them and one of them didn't. So that's the one we used, and made our way to the brew house. And, you know, we're walking down, and pretty much on every corner, you could hear the game. You know, everybody has outside speakers on and whatever. And, you know, lots of people out there. I feel sorry for traffic cops and stuff like that, because people were jaywalking all over the place.
By Markstrom, by the way. Did you see that save? Oh man, he just
there you go.
Robs Pavelski.
A little
slot. Sorry to interrupt, but that was unreal.
A little Gloverly action there.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we made it to the brew house. In the first period, I pretty much watched the game outside, trying to look and see on this one TV before we could get in and get a seat, because everything was jam packed. But got in there for the second, and you know, when CC scored, I'm sure they could hear us at Rogers from there too. So
I can only imagine. That would have been awesome. It's funny because I did the post game for Heavy Hockey, Game 6, and I brought up Cody Ceci because nobody was really talking about him this series, and I just think that they talked about him after he scored the goal, but I honestly thought he had a hell of a series. Like, he played the most defensive minutes the night Nurse was out, and there was nothing to complain about his play at all. All 7 games. I think was it maybe the first or second game? First game maybe had a little bit of a rough go, but for the most part, he was our best defenseman, I thought. I mean, you guys tell me I'm wrong. I don't know. I
fully agree with you on that. Like, we want to talk about last night specifically. Like, I was marveling at what Cody Ceci was doing. Like, not just the goal, like even beyond the goal, he made a lot of good, solid defensive plays. He was breaking up cycles. He was hitting guys, pitting them against the boards. Like, he was taking care of business in the back end, and then he had the snipe on top of that. Yeah, he had a hell of a performance. But like, I saw a tweet today, somebody mentioned that he had 6 points and he was +8 in the series. Like, that's unbelievable for Cody Ceci.
I know that it is unreal, right? Like, that's and there was it's funny, right? Because certainly there's was a lot of controversy over that signing.
Right? Oh, like, I saw 4 years for Cody Ceci. I was like, what is Holland thinking? But happy to be wrong about that. He's been a great player for us.
Yeah, Ettinger with a nice stop there on Kachuk.
Yeah, 2-on-1.
Yeah.
Couldn't bury it.
What do you guys? I don't know how much of this series. I've I've watched pretty much every one of these games, and I think that other than if you're listening to the Sportsnet crew, which it's the Homer crew, so it's a little bit hard to listen to. But I think part of the problem, like with the Flames offense, is, nobody's scared of Lucic in the playoffs, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, guys will hit Gaudreau. In fact, they have hit Gaudreau many a time in this series because they're willing to pay that price come playoff time. And regular season, I think you just would rather stay off of Lucic's radar, right? Like, it's a long season, In my mind, the reason why he's he's still Gaudreau. I'm not going to take away the fact that he's talented, but I feel like he's giving up the puck like a half second sooner this whole series. He's been missing some passes. When he gets open ice, he's Johnny Gaudreau. He's got good hands. He's quick and a lot of things. But man, I tell you, like, the reason why he doesn't get a lot of points in the playoffs is once he gets scared, I think he runs like crazy.
Like, I'm not a big guy either. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm bigger than Johnny Gaudreau. I'd be scared shitless if I was on the NHL playing in a game against all those guys too. Like, hard to blame the guy. But that being said, he's a franchise player, and he's a guy you're relying on for offense. So yeah, you need him to get in there. Like Kyler Yamamoto, like one of the smallest guys in the league,
probably the same size, right?
If not smaller, and he's our most physical player.
We're just gonna call him anti-Gaudreau.
Yeah, no, he is. And plays
like there's a definite
style.
mindset there for sure.
Yeah. Oh, there's less time and space. Good, sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Yamamoto's a good. I just lost the feed. Damn it.
There's just under 3 minutes to go. Calgary's coming in, and Shot and Ottinger with a save off.
They're doubling up the Stars and Shots, but Stars have the lead.
Yeah. It's. I mean, the Flames have got to get. They got to have a burr under their saddle going down early like that. Mind you, 8 shots is not bad.
Well, the Flames have 16 already.
Yeah. I find when they start to get their shooting mentality, it's like the LA Kings, right? Like, they'll shoot from anywhere. And so you'll get, 15, 16 shots in a period, but how many of them were really, great shots, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's totally fair.
Got away with a bit of a high stick there.
Yeah, you're focusing like a lot on Gaudreau. It doesn't seem like Mangiapane likes that playoff hockey that much either.
No, I think, and we were talking about this before we went live here, that who do the Oilers match up better against next series? My gut tells me Calgary, even though I'd still love to see them lose tonight.
It's funny. I think we have more solutions for Jacob Markstrom than maybe Ottinger.
Yeah, well, and Ottinger's playing on pure adrenaline. The guy's been unreal.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. Yeah. But the Oilers played the Flames 4 times over the regular season. They scored 5 goals in 3 of those games.
Yeah.
Right. There was that 3-1 loss where they kind of shut us down. Good on them, whatever. But we scored 5 goals in every other game.
And the other thing, like, I don't think the Flames have seen this particular Oilers team. They did briefly, like during that wacky game where the Flames, I don't know, I can't even remember what the end goal was.
9-5 game?
9-5 game. That game was an anomaly, though. And,
it was.
I don't think I've heard from a lot of Flames fans, but I don't think they realize the defensive structure of this team.
Yeah, like the fact that we were able to beat that Kings team 2-0 the way, like in a game 7, like our defensive structure held up under pressure, as Woodcroft talked about in his post game last night. So like, there's a lot of good habits being developed that are working, that are doing exactly what we need in a game, in a big game situation. So yeah, I think that can translate well into the next round, no matter who we play.
Mike, you said you've watched every game of this series with Dallas and Calgary.
Yep.
What did you think of Game 5?
Oh, remind me which one Game 5 was. Sorry.
The beer league game mixed in. Like we come off our Game 5 against the Kings, and then I watched Game 5 of this series, and the pace. I mean, it was nothing close to any of the games in our series against the Kings. It was just crawling along, and the physicality was about a third of what we had in Game 5, and I'm watching that and I'm like, is that who these guys are? Is that what we're going up against? Because if it is, I like our chances, but
this whole series has been boring, with the except last game was good, and looks like this one's starting out with a little bit of excitement. But
yeah, I mean, these guys like they run around a little bit more, chasing the big hits. So I guess if it gets into that kind of thing, Cassian and Archibald are going to have a lot of fun. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot like Zadorov is massive.
Yeah.
He's on the screen right now.
Yeah, he's a unit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've brought this up on the podcast a number of times because I'll never forget Burke talking about it, which was how the Flames would get literally scared when the Oilers would come into town, that he had to basically talk the players off the ledge, right? Because they were scared of McDavid, And I feel like this is the same group of guys. And I feel like after they there's no they're not in a bubble. They know exactly what McDavid did in Game 6 and Game 7. Like these guys, there's no doubt they'll be thinking about that.
Let's talk about that for a second, Mike.
Oh, yeah, for sure, because I love to.
I guess it really started in Game 5 with kind of the, starting to take things over a little bit and force the issue. And that carried on to Game 6. But I mean, the things he was doing last night in Game 7, the pressure cooker game, the do or die game, the control behind the net, I'll get him going this way and I'll go back that way kind of stuff. I mean, it was incredible to watch. He put on a skating clinic last night. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow. And I don't think, you're watching that and I'm thinking to myself, and I don't think he's fully arrived yet as a player. I think there's still another level he can get to.
Yeah, I believe that. I think he'll get better for a couple more years.
And what I was watching last night was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. Like I've never seen the puck control and the ability to create space. It was almost like the Kings were trying to double team him like you would in basketball, and he's shaking it like it's nothing.
Like he had no idea what way he was going to turn with the puck.
Yeah,
and when he did,
there's so many times like he's coming up the wall and like you'd think, oh yeah, he's going to just work his way back up to the point slowly, but no, then he just does a super tight turn and he just puts his shoulder down and he's by the guy and he's coming hard to the net. And you guys remember the goal he scored against the Ducks in the playoffs when he did that little button hook and then roofed it. He did that last night, I think in the first period, but he did it twice and almost freed himself up for a really good chance.
He did it to Danault in Game 5, right? In the third period there, and Danault is that's I think the thing that when I think about McDavid in that series is Danault and Kopitar, like those are supposed to be the hardest guys to play against, right? As an offensive player, but I mean he just had 6 multi-point games. So tell me again, who's the hardest to play against? That's why I was saying I felt like running into the playoffs, the team was. I just had this really good feeling about them. Now I'm not going to pretend I knew this team was coming out of this series, right? Like I honestly, after Game 5, I was expecting disappointment, but am I surprised that they came back? Not with the way McDavid played, but I really do feel like I felt like, remember 2017, I felt like Draisaitl was the king that time. Like, I thought, other than that one goal you're talking about against Anaheim, I thought that McDavid wasn't McDavid. Like, he hadn't adjusted yet to playoffs. He was still better than, everybody else on the ice, but he wasn't McDavid good, right? And Draisaitl, on the other hand, upped his game, and it's just too bad that he's playing so injured right now. But I felt going into these playoffs, I really felt like this is the year for McDavid. Like, he is ready. If they don't go all the way this year, I think the league's on notice. I think that he is this is the new McDavid. This is the guy for the next 2 to 3 years.
Did you hear his interview last night?
Right after the game?
With Scott Oak?
Yeah, on the bench when he was on the bench.
Part of that reminded me of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, job's not finished. We'll celebrate this, but we're not done.
Yeah, that was the most. I said that was the most genuine I've ever seen him.
I kind of love that. Like, yeah, celebrate tonight, but we're not done yet.
What everybody else is talking about with McDavid is his will to win. That's the big observation that's coming from this. Like, I was watching Game 6 with some buddies, and McDavid in the third period of Game 6, he made a few really nice defensive plays, really nice back checks, stripping guys of pucks and then turning it up ice. Right, so like we're starting to see that 200-foot evolution. Like it's been coming for a while, but now we're seeing it in the playoffs, right? And it's just his will. Like, Game 5, he put the team on his back in the third period, and they got that game to overtime. And overtime, that was disappointing, but they didn't even touch the puck really. But Game 6, again, multi-point night for McDavid. Did whatever he wanted. In Game 7, yeah, pretty much the same thing. Every shift that his line was on the ice, it was in the offensive zone. They were creating. He was getting whatever he wanted. So, the world is about to find out just how good Connor McDavid can be. That's for sure.
So kind of got wind yesterday that Leon's dealing with a high ankle sprain. How many days do you think it is before we get going in round 2?
3 games. 3 days is what they said, I think, from yesterday.
Yeah, they'll probably give.
So Wednesday
we
night?
play the winner of this game that's happening tonight, right? They're not gonna. It's not gonna be tomorrow. It might not be the next night. Probably Wednesday at the earliest.
Yeah, I was thinking Wednesday or Thursday is when we'd get going again, but and that I guess why I'm saying that is I think that helps Leon get a few days to get some treatment and get better.
High ankle sprain is an injury that takes a couple of months to fully heal. But I don't think he's going to be 100% at any point in the playoffs.
No, but any amount of rest I think will help him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but he's just not going to have the same explosiveness or snap in his stride. He's just not going to have the same speed. And we're talking about Woodcroft. He puts McDavid and Draisaitl together, and I'm like, oh God, don't default to this. But knowing now that Dry's a little impeded with his stride, putting him on the wing is probably the best place for him because there's not so much reliance on his skating playing the wing rather than center.
I'll go off the beaten path a little bit with this, but I think we're better suited to actually pair them together now because of the additions of Hyman and Kane.
Well, I thought that Hyman and Nuge and Kane, when they were out on the ice, the three of them.
Yeah,
that was a nice looking line.
They were rolling. I had no idea who was coming over the boards with you. McDavid started the game between Kane and Hyman, and then there were lots of shifts where he was with Dry and Yamamoto, and it was Dry with McLeod and somebody.
I mean, it changed everything.
Changed a lot throughout the game. So that credit to Woodcroft on that, right? How does McClellan know what he's trying to match up against?
Nobody knew, right?
Nobody knew.
Not a soul knew. And the craziest thing about that though is that's not at all what got them there, right? A lot of people were even yelling after Game 5, go back to what got you to. That was the first time I'd heard criticism of Woodcroft was after Game 5, right? Everybody was yelling at him saying, go back to what got you there. And he stuck with his game plan, and It worked. I mean, it doesn't work without Connor McDavid, but it still worked, right? And those lines, whoever went over the boards, it was like everybody bought into the program, right? Everyone.
The other thing that was talked about, like at some point here recently, was about Woodcroft's ability to make in-game adjustments on the fly. How are you going to react to a situation that comes up during the game and during the series? McLellan, he after the second blowout loss, like after game 3, he went to the media and was just like, everyone was bad, good night. And then he shuffled up the lines.
Yeah.
He rejigged all the lines and deep pairings, and they got 2 straight wins out of it. Right? Okay, so what's your next move, Jay? You put Dry in the wing and you start rotating centers and wing combinations, and you keep McLellan guessing. And so, again, great job by Woodcroft to adjust to the situation as it unfolded in the series and in games.
Yeah.
LA's a better team than I gave them credit for. I thought we would get through that series in 5 and kind of be ho-hum and just roll along. They certainly made us earn that series win.
Yeah, I figured they would be annoying. I figured we would beat ourselves a couple of times. I had Oilers in 6, but we beat ourselves one time too many, I think.
Yeah, and as this goes on, I think you have to keep looking at your game and areas to improve on, and I think some of the mistakes that you can make in games can really affect a series outcome. So I'm glad they got through that, but sharpen up a little bit and keep going.
Hey, the first round is where you get that shit out, right? Like where Mike Smith making a play on the puck there.
Yeah, he's kept it pretty simple since then.
Yeah, I mean that's just it, right? Like, what better time to kind of get that stuff out of your system? And I thought the Oilers, with the exception of the start in Game 5, like the first 2 periods of Game 5, and then the shutout loss, I thought the Oilers, had a great series. There wasn't, there was a problem with the slow starts, but I think that you're talking about Woodcroft making adjustments. I think he made the right adjustments, right? Like he realized, look, this team comes out hard. I'm going to put McDavid and Draisaitl out right away because, nobody has a better start than those two, right? It may seem like a simple adjustment, but it's an adjustment, and it's one that you got to make. And then the other factor that I don't think is talked about enough is how important it is for everybody else, as I said before, to play the system, right? Like if you're going to put McDavid and Draisaitl on the same line, you need Hyman, Nuge, and Kane, to be good, right? Like they can't play like a third line, right? They got to play like a second line. And I thought they did. In fact, there were times in that in Game 6 where they, had hemmed LA in for, periods of time. Like it was crazy. Like they dominated the offensive zone play, that particular line, whereas Draisaitl and McDavid, I mean, they don't get much offensive time because, let's be honest, they don't need it, right? They just fly in.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Hyman for a second here. I mean, there was a shift last night. I think it was in the 3rd period. Zach Hyman along the right boards. He got the puck in. He was stick handling through a couple of games. I mean, he fought the tooth and nail just to get the puck into the zone. He lost his stick in a little battle where the guys are kind of holding each other, pushing off each other. Let him play, all good. But Hyman loses his stick, no problem. He just casually goes to the boards, pins it against his wall with his skate, waits for help, gets some help, and then casually goes, picks up his stick in the corner and gets right back in there. That kind of stuff that Zach Hyman does is unbelievable. Like he just gets it deep, and he can initiate a minute of offensive zone cycle time. It's a heavy grinding shift on the other team too. So credit to Hyman.
There's a lot of he does some things almost like Leon where he uses his body and stick handles way out with one hand and shields the guy off. And those are exhausting shifts. And you just tire out the other team. You don't really necessarily have to score, but you're putting in work and it's effective. Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
that's it with Hyman though, is the work ethic, right? Like he just gives 110 every shift, right? When he's
Like, and what he does is a skill. Like,
yeah.
Like, not that I've ever played a high level of hockey, but like I'm more of a dangler, try to walk the puck into the net kind of guy. But like, I can't get me in a board battle, I'm gonna lose 9 out of 10, right? Zach Hyman, that's not the case. Like that is a skill.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and good on him. This will be his first ever second round.
Sid 6-0 said he went from one team that can't win a playoff round, or he's going to try to win a playoff round by going to a team that can't win a playoff round.
Yeah.
How you like that there, Sid?
Oh man,
old takes exposed.
Oh yeah. I was I went on to I was looking because I do feel maybe this is the homer in me, but I do feel like there is this Eastern media, and like specifically NHL media, that the hatred towards the Oilers, and Mike, you and I talked about it. Part of it's jealousy from the glory years. Part of it is winning a few draft lotteries. There's all sorts of reasons, right? McDavid.
I think we were like a spot or two behind them. Like I think they were the next pick up in the McDavid lottery, and then we got
That's
Connor.
Right. Yeah, and I just think there's this sort of overall hatred against the Oilers, and so I was looking. I looked at all the predictions. The one that sort of struck me, like I think Gord Stellick hates the Oilers the most out of everybody. So I went to the Sirius XM, see how many they had. 16 of their analysts, if you want to call them experts, whatever, that were did their first round matchups, and almost 50% of them had LA beating Edmonton in the first round. Right? Like, I mean, honestly, the people that were and some of them, it was like 5 or 6 games. Are you kidding me? Okay, maybe take LA in 7, I guess, if you don't trust the Oilers, but 5 or 6 games, come on. I don't know. And of course, majority of them took Toronto in the first round. Sad for them. Josh is listening in on YouTube there. He says Hyman was out of control good. Mr. Puck Possession. He really is. It's unreal.
Yeah, like that's what that line with Hyman and Kane as a wing combo, that's what they did. Like they didn't generate a lot of chances per se, but like they got the puck deep. They hit guys. They exhausted the other team. They exhausted the Kings. That's what they did.
Yeah, and actually, Josh was in watching a game today, Oilers versus the Kings, but the Kings won that one. So they do this out here in Atlantic Canada, in Nova Scotia. They've got this spring league. I don't know if they do it in Alberta. I don't remember seeing it. But every team actually has an NHL team. So, like, there's the Oilers, there's the Stars, there's the Kings, and they get, like, the full, like, the Oilers have Oilers jerseys and Oilers socks and the whole deal. And, in fact, one of my friends, his kid plays for the Oilers team. And I think Josh's kid plays for the Kings team. And the Kings walloped the Oilers today. So, good thing that wasn't played before our game. Might have been a bad omen.
That would be neat. Like, I got a buddy that lives in California, and for his like slow pitch games, they have like replica fields of like Wrigley Field and Fenway Park and stuff like that. That'd be kind of neat
nice.
That'd be kind of neat if they had replica, Rogers Place. And
hey, the arena in Truro is actually quite nice. It's pretty new. Pretty new. If you ever been out to Nova Scotia, Truro. I don't know. There's not much to do out in Truro. Well, there's lots to do. Truro's nice. All of Nova Scotia is a nice place. Come visit. This is my invite to everybody. This is my little touristy invite to everybody. Come visit Nova Scotia. We will welcome you. You can't stay at my place, though.
So
Well, how am I supposed to get there if I don't have free accommodation?
Yeah, well, you can stay at my place. Not everybody listening.
what do you guys think of Brady Tkachuk wearing Flames gear and kind of I think it's great supporting his brother, but you're a senator while you're wearing Flame shirts.
Yeah, it looks. If I was a Sens fan, I'd be a little weirded out.
Yeah.
For sure. In fact, let me ask my Sens fan, Frank.
Hey, Sens Nation.
The friendship tour. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a little bit odd. So they're getting ready to get underway. Period 2.
And I think they showed him like at their, I don't know what they call their whole setup. Who cares? But was he was throwing out shirts or something to the crowd there at, the pregame there to me.
Was he really?
Yeah, it looked like it. I'll just rewind in here.
Yeah, they're showing a little cutaway. I'm about 10 seconds back on my feed. 20. But they were showing Ettinger there. That would be my biggest concern if Dallas comes out of this, is a hot goalie in the playoffs can take the lowest of teams, right? All the way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was definitely chucking shirts to the crowd there. So
Kachucking.
Yeah, chucking shirts out to the crowd.
I wanted the Oilers to pick up Brady so bad. I did a live draft show that time with SPR and Josh says we beat the Golden Knights in the afternoon. Oh, this was there. This was
happy about that.
Spring League. They beat the Golden Knights in the afternoon, and oddly enough, Dallas beat the Oilers in their afternoon game. Said so. Hopefully, that's not a premonition of things to come.
Yeah. Update from my Sens fan friend. It doesn't sit well, but I'm accustomed to it. It's nothing new.
Oh, he's done it before?
Apparently, he's done this before.
Yeah, go figure.
But yeah, still doesn't sit particularly well.
No, you know what? I don't like it. I don't think I'd be particularly happy if one of our Oilers was wearing a Stars jersey or.
Yeah. I don't know.
At least it's only a T-shirt.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough, and it is his brother on the T-shirt.
Yeah, no, I don't mind him supporting his brother, but to me, wearing another team's paraphernalia is out of bounds.
It's a little weird. It is a little weird. There's no doubt. They're showing Rick Bowness on my feed right there, which about 10 seconds back, but not as much Rick Bowness in this coverage as it is when it's in Dallas. That's for sure.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Lotzie, you're into analytics. Has anybody been tracking the Stars record when that blonde is behind Bonus?
No, they're missing out on the important analytics.
That's right.
Oh.
Damn it.
Apparently she's a fixture back there.
Yeah, I think she's a season ticket holder right behind the bench.
Yeah, obviously doing some reading on her, but
she dated 50 Cent, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's all right.
Yeah, that's nothing new for her.
He's all right.
You guys have been keeping some stats here.
Hey, we know our hockey. We know our hockey, Mike.
Ken Holland might have the guide and record book, but I think you have the green book on the Stars here.
That's right. All right.
This game, like, this is how Dallas has played this whole series. Just, try to contain. They don't really do much, but just try to contain.
It kind of reminds me like that Vegas Canucks series a couple years ago. I'll wait for Michael's reaction here.
Oh, No. Did Calgary score?
Yes, they did.
Damn.
No.
Toffoli tied it up.
Oh, Toffoli appearance. Wow, that's a rarity of this series.
They haven't scored yet. Am I that far back? Holy crap.
You might be that far
there,
back.
They just scored. I'm that far back in this game. All right, that'll get the Flames crowd back in it.
Yeah, Toffoli's been like a leprechaun. Like, it's very tough to put your eyes on this series.
Yeah, he tipped it high stick, maybe.
Oh, wouldn't that be hilarious?
I don't
Offside,
think so.
maybe?
No.
Why are they having a look?
I don't think
zoomed
so.
in on Shillington holding it.
Oh, maybe. Well, that didn't really show anything.
No, Dallas didn't challenge it. So. Play on.
That clip there, it almost looked like ice fog, like they're playing in the old Boston Gardens or something.
Oh, man,
oh yeah.
That was something. I actually went to a couple of those games when they were in Edmonton.
Oh, yeah.
That final, yeah. That was awesome. I think I've told that story on the pod a couple of times, but I have had the pleasure of being at a couple of Oilers Stanley Cup final games back in the glory years. Yeah, pretty awesome.
Well, they answered right back.
Did they? I haven't seen it yet.
Let's go Dallas.
Oh, man.
Vlad Nemesnikov.
Of course. Hey? He's public enemy number one.
That's hilarious. Like Dallas sleepwalks through games, and as soon as you kind of do something to them, then they wake up and, okay, we better answer here. And right away, bang.
Love it.
It's almost like they're trying too hard to play the perfect structured game, and then once they're
let's go have some fun, and
every once in a while they're like, oh, we can actually try to score.
And he just shot that right through Markstrom.
Isn't that hard? Yeah. I was thinking about Tyler Seguin the other day. Like, remember Tyler versus Taylor? Of course, everybody in Edmonton will remember that. Like, those two really didn't pan out to be everything. I mean, Taylor Hall, I guess, he won the Hart, but like, he's never really panned out to be what everybody expected of him, right? Like, to be the perennial, top of the scoring charts, and Tyler certainly hasn't either.
So with the the gift of hindsight, if you could do that draft again all over again,
I'd still take Taylor Hall.
Would you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was the wrong. I think, I don't know. It's just that the two of the players, right? They have challenges, right? Like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think part of Seguin's challenge is he's not as focused on hockey as he could be. And Taylor's challenge is he just, like, he doesn't have, we talk about it all the time, he doesn't have the radar to know when he's in trouble, right? Like, he's he used to get lit up so bad, right? And he's like, tragedy follows that guy around. And yeah, I just think they're guys that are like a stone's throw away from greatness, right? Like, they're not, they've got all the tools and the speed and everything, and could have both been perennial sort of Hart favorites, but not that they've had terrible careers, don't get me wrong. I'm sure somebody is watching or will watch, and they'll say, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Those are good players. They are good players. I just don't think that they've turned out to be what everybody sort of.
When you're top two in the draft, like, you're thinking potential franchise players, and look at how the Oilers did with Taylor Hall as their franchise player. And I mean, that's part of it. I mean, we got Connor McDavid, so there's a lot of other factors in that. Like, Taylor Hall is playing on let's see, Oilers, Devils, Yotes, Sabres, Bruins. He's playing on his fifth team, and he's playing on the second line in Boston. Like, not a franchise player. Sorry, he's not. No. Tyler Seguin, he's never quite like if Tyler Seguin's your best player, your team's not going very far. Like, I still would pick Taylor Hall as well if it was me doing that draft again. Like, I remember Tyler Seguin came out of nowhere in his draft year, just rocketed up the draft board. Taylor Hall was going to be the undisputed number one, but then Tyler Seguin finally made an appearance, and then the famous debate started. And I just wasn't buying it with Seguin.
Well, and it sure felt like at the time, right? Like during the first part of their start, that Seguin was the guy that we should have picked. I felt like early on, felt like we made a mistake, and then Hall started to play a little bit better, and he had some good years. There was some. I remember up until, of course, a couple of years ago, I never missed a Battle of Alberta in like 10 years. I'd been to every one, both in Calgary and Edmonton. And I remember being in Edmonton, and Eberle, Hall, Nuge, they were all just young guys, and thinking how great that team was. We were going to have I just remember feeling how so excited about the prospects of the Oilers team. It just never did pan out, did it?
Yeah, unfortunately for us, we're getting similar results now. Just
wow,
with Connor instead of Taylor.
Sorry, Ottinger just robbed the Flames there.
Oh yeah, all right.
Yeah,
I'm about to watch here.
I think I'm well ahead of both of you guys.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that was on the Goudreau opportunity.
Point blank, I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, it was Goudreau.
How much time is on your game there, Ryan?
They're showing me a replay of the save right now.
Okay, I'm just a tenth of a second behind you, I think.
I'm just getting to the. Is there a penalty or is it just a high stick?
Yeah, I have my audio pretty low because I'm trying to concentrate on you guys. But yeah, there's a call.
Trip, Calgary.
Oh, look at this. Trevor Lewis is in the box.
Dallas scores here. That makes it interesting, huh?
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. You know, I'm torn here because I think if we want to win a Stanley Cup, I think if we go through Dallas, that might be an easier path. But just having more home ice, and I don't think the animosity level's the same. It'd probably get there, but it wouldn't start there like a Battle of Alberta. And I think if you want to go on a long run, I don't think going through, a trench warfare kind of series is probably the most beneficial way.
Just wait, guys. Josh has chimed in on the Taylor versus Tyler debate. We should have taken Kuznetsov. Fair statement.
I guess going back to that, neither one of those guys really lived up to the billing, did they?
No. Well, yeah, I mean, they're still good players, right? Just not.
I mean, that hype machine was probably almost bigger than the hype machine for Connor.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest disappointment still is held by Yakupov.
Yeah. Flatlined.
There's a kid that actually his mom was you guys might remember him. He's from Edmonton, Shizowski. His mom was my secretary. I don't think they called them secretaries back then. Now they call them something completely different.
Slot from the shot off the bar. I thought Markstrom got a piece, but he never did.
That was a couple good chances on that first part of that power play for sure.
Yeah.
Just going back to what you were talking about there, Mike, with the easier path to the Stanley Cup if we were going to go that far. I mean, obviously nothing's set in stone, but the odds would say that Colorado's waiting for us in the conference finals if we were to get past round 2.
Yeah.
Right? So do I want to face Colorado after highly emotional, highly physical series against Calgary, or do I want to get there after what will still be a physical, tough series against Dallas, but maybe lacking the same emotion that you're going to see against Calgary? So, there's a little bit of that as well.
What happened? I turned away. What happened to Goodbranson?
He got ran from behind.
There's a bad penalty on that.
Bad time for a penalty, that's for damn sure.
Oh yeah, well,
He earned that.
yeah. Lewis was right there watching. He had front row seat. Oh, he wasn't even looking though. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think a series against the Flames be a lot of fun, but pretty taxing. I think more so than a series against Dallas, but maybe that's the wrong idea. Maybe if you take anybody, like it's going to be a little easier away, then you end up going home.
So let me ask you, and Josh is listening in too. So I get your opinions on this. I mean, do you think this Oilers team can make it that far?
Western Conference Final, we're talking?
No, Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I won't nod quite as aggressively.
Yeah. I was thinking about this today, and then I mean, obviously you're going to be disappointed if they're knocked out at any point, but what's success this year?
I think we've already seen success this year. I think everyone just needed to see that we could get past that first round. And now we're a top 8 team in the league, and we're going to be in the conversation for contender next September when we're making preseason predictions here. I think we've done what we needed to do this year, but there's still a bigger job at hand, and I don't think anybody's in the Oilers organization is satisfied with just a round one win. And as a fan, obviously, we're not satisfied with just one round either, but we're all going to sleep. We're all going to have a much better summer knowing that we won round one.
I think we've kind of eclipsed the, just happy to be here phase. Last night was a fantastic hockey game, and no matter what happened, I kind of would have been at peace with going out, knowing that they played their best game and laid it all out there. And, that wasn't the case throughout every game in that series, but it certainly was last night. And I thought that was a fabulous hockey game. Glad we won that. And, I celebrated, and I think probably some players on the team probably did too, but they're not content. And Tkachuk just tied it for Calgary. Yeah. So I don't think there's a sense of contentment. And now you're inside of, you went from 16 to 8. So now I think you are a contender. You're in it. And can they win? Can they win? Another round, become Pacific Division champions? Yeah. I think that's within their grasp. Can they get through the Western Conference Final? It's not a shoe-in, but it's definitely a possibility. I mean, it could be another little, and I don't even think it's the same as 06 where, you're completely a Cinderella team. I don't think that's the case. This season they
were the best, or one of the 3 best teams in the league since Woodcroft came in, right?
I mean, and they've beaten the Florida Panthers. They've beaten the upper echelon teams this season. So
yeah, my only concern is the Avalanche, right?
But they played the Avalanche all regular season, right? But they're good.
They're unbelievable, and we took them to overtime twice since Woodcroft came over. I believe we got one win against them towards the end, but that was towards Colorado was already starting to be okay, we're prepping for playoffs. We'll take the foot off the gas a little bit, but we took them to overtime twice when things were still very much in the air. Oh, who we got here?
16.
Zadorov.
Yeah, I think he's got a shoulder problem.
Oh, he's down hard.
Yeah, I think his shoulder went into either the boards or the post really hard.
Now, Tanev didn't start tonight, I don't think either, did he?
Did he not play?
Nope.
I heard he was doubtful, but
yeah.
I didn't actually see.
Suter. Go figure.
Oh, yeah. You know what he's saying. He's like, stay down. There's not going to be any love lost.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, no. This way he went into crashed into the post with his stomach. He didn't crash into the boards.
Yeah, that's not his shoulder, I don't think.
Yeah, no.
Probably got the wind knocked out of him.
I haven't
Yeah,
done a
he'll
show
be
since
fine.
Game 5, or Game 6. But that officiating in Game 6, maybe I need to talk to somebody who's not an Oilers fan, because it just seemed like the single most one-sided piece of officiating I've ever watched in my life. Like, starting with that Yamamoto goaltender interference call. That's what brought that to mind. Like, I've never seen that before.
I didn't hate the Yamamoto one so much, honestly.
Really? I couldn't stand.
I mean, I didn't see. I mean, I'd have to watch the replay again to see exactly how much impact that him getting pushed had. But
he had a lot of. He had
trying to make a move.
He had a lot of help going in, and even if he didn't, I don't like that call.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't. If Quick wasn't out of the blue paint to make the save, Yamamoto could have avoided him. I feel.
The one that was embarrassing is the Nuge cross check and then the swan dive afterwards. I mean, that was
yeah. It just there's no it went against the law of physics, because if you watch, Nuge is on a downward motion on that one, and he goes up,
jumps up.
It's like Nuge pushed him into the ice and he bounced off of it. That's how.
And the only call we got all night was Cassian high stick that had absolutely nothing to do with the play, and get a power play from that, and felt like, why? So we gave a half-ass effort on that power play. Like it didn't seem like it. There was other shifts and other things that went on where you're trying to earn a call and there's nothing, and then this random thing that has nothing to do with anything gets called, and I don't know. That was a tough game. You're playing shorthanded basically all night because you're playing against the Kings and you're playing against the officiating.
Yeah.
Now, the one that got me was that interference on McDavid in the neutral zone.
The non-calls. Yeah.
The non-call, like he didn't call that one. Like, I couldn't believe it. The puck was on the other side of the ice, and it's the best player in your league that's just getting open ice hit nowhere near the puck, and you're just gonna let that go.
Wasn't there a call to? I think Kane had the puck behind the net, and they called Connor for interference.
Yeah, that was a ticky-tack one. I mean, it was, but it was ticky-tack. It was soft.
Yeah, I thought the biggest thing for me was just how lopsided it felt. Just like the guy, they could have at least. I mean, I'm not for game management, but at least make it feel like you're trying to call an even game. I don't know. It just.
Hey, it's proof that the refs aren't always trying to manage the games to make it all even.
That's right. I think they were trying to manage the outcome of this one.
Yeah.
There's a fellow that is on Twitter, and I don't know if you guys follow him, but I've had him on the podcast before, and I intend on having him on. In fact, I was supposed to have him on in the past couple of weeks, but with the playoffs, it's been kind of crazy. And his name's Dale Sheehan, and he was at one point, and I don't know if he still is, but he was a co-author of a study that looked at basically sport integrity and match fixing. And they, looked at this was mostly like football, like European football, soccer, but how many games were fixed, and just the just how prevalent this was in not in specific to hockey, but in sport in general. And of course, he had spearheaded a whistleblower line that was actually run out of Canada for the international body for sport integrity. And I remember back, now this goes back a couple of years ago since I had him on, but there had been some match fixing in the KHL at one point. Or and it goes more it's more than just match fixing, right? Like, with the parlays and not the parlays, sorry, the prop betting and that, like, you could have guys that might just try to take a penalty at a certain time in the game, right? Or they might, various different things happen. I thought it was interesting, and at the time, that's when the NHL was really looking at, allowing betting to be more widespread across the NHL, which now, if you watch Sportsnet, I mean, I don't think there's any other advertisements but the latest sports book, right? Like this.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, it's all sports book ads. And so, yeah, I'd be curious. I was intending to have him on in the next couple weeks to talk about that game, not necessarily about that game, but about whether he thinks it's possible that this could be happening in sport, specifically the NHL today, right? Could NHL officials be, potential targets for bookmakers or whoever might be looking to fix games? So I'd be curious what his thoughts are on that. Well, I'll find out though in the next couple of games. So if you want to give him a follow, he's at Dale_L_Sheehan, which is SHEEHAN, and he's a good follow and a good guy. Yeah. And I think he was based in Edmonton for a while, but I'm pretty sure he's a Sens fan. We won't hold that against him. Any updates on the score? I'm 20 seconds behind. Still 2-2.
Yeah, still 2-2. Zadorov is.
They're showing a graphic right now. Shot attempts 62-20 in favor of Calgary.
Oh yeah, they're throwing everything at the net.
Zadorov is back to talking to the Stars, I guess.
The whole Stars bench.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
A life update for me. The screen on my end is super scrambly right now. The joys of streaming everything on the Sportsnet app. Sometimes it works great. Other times, not so much. This is one of those times where it's not so much.
Oh, man. Dallas missed a glorious opportunity there.
I'm going to turn on another light here because it's kind of a little bit dark in my living room. And grab a water. I'll be right back, guys.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, sun's starting to go down. The shades had to come off. Clouds are out. The sun's gone.
Yeah. What's the weather like in Edmonton right now? Pretty good?
Oh, it was a gorgeous day today. Like yesterday and today were just gorgeous. Like 20 degrees. It's sunny outside. Barely a cloud in the sky. It was perfect summer day.
We had a beautiful weekend here in Halifax. 25 degrees yesterday. Oh, jeez.
I was walking around White Ave this afternoon, and I was like 95% certain that this guy was Zach Hyman, but I'm pretty sure I walked by Zach Hyman on White Ave this afternoon.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
I could be totally wrong, but it looked a lot like him. As I'm walking by, I was like, oh, Zach Hyman. And then I'm like, wait, was that actually Zach Hyman or not?
Yeah, well, he's a pretty unique-looking guy. I mean,
sometimes people look just a little bit different in photos or on TV than they do in person. That's kind of what I was feeling in that moment. It's like I just wasn't entirely sure. Like I say, they're off today. He could have been out enjoying the sun.
Yeah, it's I mean, we got to be thankful for these other Game 7s that happened, just for the Oilers and needing a couple days to.
That's where being the first series to start or playing on the first night is helpful.
Looks like Shillington's giving birth on the bench. What's happening?
Yeah. In some discomfort for sure.
He'll be fine.
You were talking earlier about the Avalanche. Them going up against St. Louis. That could be a good matchup.
That'll be a fun one too, but Colorado is definitely the favorite in that. Hey, St. Louis could do us a huge favor in that series, or whoever comes out of the second round in the Pacific.
I think though that first game back is tough for those guys, right? Like having having
lots
that
of
much
days
of
off.
a layoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might take him a minute to get into the series. But how about Kayla Mccarr? Can we talk about him for a second? 12 points in 4 games. Like, what?
So good. But, I mean, keep
Or-
in mind, like,
Maybe it's not actually 12 because
I think
I think I'm getting that number
No, I think you're
from
right.
my girlfriend's pool. But,
No, I think you're right. I think it's 12. I'm going to look right now. I'm pretty sure it's 12. He's, I mean, but obviously Nashville didn't have a response for them. No, it's 10 points. Sorry,
10 points. Still 10 points in 4 games for a defenseman. Like, wow.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, seen better.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. He's hard to believe, like, Brooks, right? Like how they
Brooks Bandits.
Man.
Yeah. I was actually sitting beside the former mayor of Spruce Grove for the game last night. He was sitting in the seat beside me. He's talking about his Saints and how they just lost to Brooks in the final.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had did we not have season tickets to? No, not the Saints. It was Sherwood Park.
Crusaders.
The Crusaders at the Oilers Live charity auction. We had season tickets for them.
Oh, nice.
For grabs. That's a good league. Like, I mean, nothing wrong with that hockey whatsoever. And a lot of good players come from that league. That
was exciting a couple years ago when we had Michael Benning and Carter Savoie come through.
Yep. Now, the Oilers called up Savoie, didn't they?
Well, Bakersfield's out now, so.
Oh, and take it, Dallas didn't score here. No, you guys haven't said anything, so.
Yeah, no, nothing yet.
I still got deuces on my score.
Yeah. I'm at 8:30 of time.
Yeah. Wow.
What?
I'm at 6:08.
Oh no, okay.
I'm at 6 minutes.
I've got 2 different feeds going right now, so. Okay, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. I'm at 6:13.
No, I'm 5:49, 8, 7.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, you're like 15 seconds ahead of me.
I wonder. No.
Yeah, to be.
What time is yours now, Ryan?
5:29, 28.
Yeah,
27.
you're about 4 seconds ahead of me.
Jeez, maybe it's because I'm so far away. I'm not kidding. I can't see him. I've got a couple different ways to stream the game, and none of them are even close to you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. Like last year, I remember like my friends texted me in the group chats, and they'd be like, "Oh, McDavid did something. Oh, there's a goal," and I'd be like, "Oh, damn it, you guys spoiled it for me again." But now I'm in that situation this year where I'm the guy that's getting it first.
Yeah, the Winnipeg beat writer, I can't remember his name, but the Oilers were playing the Jets one time, and I was streaming the game. This goes back a couple of years ago, and on Twitter he posted like within seconds of the Jets scoring or something, and I replied. I said, "Could you please not do that? Because I'm like behind." I was joking, right? But obviously, jokes don't come across in Twitter. And he DM'd me and he says, "Man, I'm sorry, but I can't stop just for you." He said, like,
He actually DM'd me.
"Oh yeah, no, he did."
That should have been a penalty. Ottender just got ran over. Playoff hockey, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
Letting them play.
Yeah.
They were definitely doing that last night. They were letting the guys play. That's for sure.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the officiating last night, though. I thought it was good.
I mean, there were a couple calls. Like there was one on McDavid. Of course, I'm gonna say that I'm an Oil fan, but McDavid made a move on him on the half wall, and then he knew he was beat. He was falling, and he kind of like grabbed at McDavid and caught his arm a little bit. So you could have called that holding, but nope, let him play.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing though that
egregious.
Yeah, I just
nothing
felt
crazy.
like that was a good game, and I felt like both teams played, a fair game. Nobody was. It was about as close to a disciplined game as you'll find, and it was a tough game. And I mean, the Oilers. That was, I think, their most dominant performance.
Yeah, like it could have easily been 4 or 5-0. Like they had a couple of posts, like Bush hit one, Yamo hit one. Made a couple of really great saves.
That Yamamoto one just about killed me.
Oh my god, couldn't believe that didn't go in. I think there was the one sequence in the first where McDavid had an open net, whiffed on it, and Chris Russell got it a little bit later and pounded it wide or had it blocked or something. Like, it could have easily been a lopsided.
So, hey, Josh says, referring to officiating, it was really good at the start of every series, but around game 4-ish, the losing team started playing disproportionately dirty, and the officials didn't call penalties accordingly. I think that's accurate. I mean, how many in the first couple games of every series we were seeing, like, cross-checking penalties? It seemed, I don't know. It did seem, it was funny because I think it was Sirius XM. They had, Colin Campbell? I can't remember. Anyway, somebody from the.
Goodrow just got robbed by Ottinger.
Again, nice.
What a save.
So the in Sirius XM, I can't remember who they had on, but they were talking about that and penalties and the refs not calling stuff, and they said, geez, Ottinger made it look easy. Ted Shep says he's at 208 on the game. Anyway, the official from the league said actually average calls in the postseason are up from the regular season. And, I think that's a garbage statement because it's a completely different game in the postseason. Guys play dirtier, right? Like, if they're going to be up, they got to be up drastically, right? You know what I mean? Like, and I think, to Josh's point, like Josh always says, like, if you start to call the game the way it's supposed to be called, guys will adjust, right? Like, they'll play the way the game's supposed to be played. And nobody wants to be in the box the whole game. If every official, I mean, that to me is good game management, calling the penalties, right, when they occur, right? Like, that's how you manage a game. That's how you get people to play within the rules. I mean, every parent could tell you that, right? Yeah.
Lay the rules out clearly, enforce the rules as they happen.
Yeah. I mean, guys will take every inch and that's playoff hockey. They'll take every inch that you give them.
Absolutely. It's always driven me nuts that there's a different standard in the playoffs. Like, you can call a penalty if you see a penalty, but I also get that the refs don't want to be the responsible factor with 2 minutes left in a game 7.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, hey guys, let's talk a little bit while we're on. Looks like you guys are probably through the commercial break.
Not quite, but yeah, they're just dropping the puck now.
Yeah, okay.
Ryan's already seen the 3rd goal for Dallas.
That's right. Yeah. He's already seeing the Dallas celebration at the end of the game. Yeah. So we've got, let's talk a little bit about the matchups going into the next round and series that's going to happen. So we've got Carolina versus the Rangers. Thoughts on that one?
It's going to be a fast-paced series.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun one.
And I thought Shesterkin started to was he in net tonight, by the way? Was it Shesterkin?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I thought he started to play better as the series went on. Obviously, he was pulled a couple times early. I watched more of the final games. I couldn't say the level that he played early on. That offensive zone time is like killer. Flames are really bringing their A game, but they're not showing it on the score sheet.
They're probably going to have 60 shots on net tonight, and be in just an absolute slugfest of a hockey game.
There was one other game like that where they got like 50 some odd shots and either barely won or lost. Can't remember the outcome of that particular one. But no, Carolina and the Rangers, I mean, I'm impressed by the Rangers. They got a young team over there, and they're not acting like it. That's why I kind of thought Pittsburgh would actually win that series once it got going. I was like, oh, Pittsburgh's up 3-1. This is that's outclassing rookies here. But credit to the Rangers. They found a way to turn that series around. And they'll give Carolina a run for their money, too.
I really think that Crosby thing was out.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I was looking at goals against from the regular season. Like both Carolina and the Rangers were in the top 3 of the fewest goals allowed. It's like that's going to be a fast, tight checking series. That'll be a slugfest too.
I didn't think Carolina. I thought that they would get disappointed. Like it would. I was expecting Boston to win that series. I just had every bracket that I did. I put Boston in there.
Boston just doesn't have the goaltending. That's their Achilles heel.
Yep.
Yeah, like they're not as deep as they used to be too.
No.
The series, Florida and Tampa Bay. You think Florida can actually take that?
That's gonna be the series of the second round, I think. Like what a matchup! President's Trophy winners against the last 2 Cup champions.
Yeah, and I didn't think though Tampa Bay played amazing in that series. I mean, they got blown out a couple of games against Toronto. I thought they were lucky to come out in 7 against Toronto, to be honest.
Yeah, like I kind of had a feel. I kind of thought Toronto was finally going to make it happen, because I've seen a lot of scenarios where a team wins a cup or becomes a cup finalist, and like they either miss the playoffs the next year or they get beaten the first round. So Tampa's been through 2 cup runs through a very stressful time, and I was thinking, hey, they might be tired. Toronto might be ready for once, but nope. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Florida can take that series, but I'm not going to discount Tampa Bay either.
They don't look as dominant as they have been, but going the distance twice and winning it all. There's a lot of guys back there that know what it's all about and know what it takes. So I wouldn't discount them either. But yeah, I think that's Florida Panthers series to lose. But
Tampa just lost Braden Point too.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you saw that little sequence where he tried to come back. Like I saw the injury, and he kind of grabbed at his groin almost. It's like that's never a good spot. And then he came back out for a shift, and like he just couldn't go, and it was obvious.
I was actively rooting for a Capitals upset just because some Panthers fan earlier this year was chirping me about how Jonathan Huberdeau should be the MVP Hart Trophy winner because he played on a historically dominant team, and Connor McDavid just plays for the Edmonton Oilers, the team that barely made the playoffs. So now it's like we're transitioning the Hart criteria to now you got to be on a historically dominant team to be a Hart Trophy winner. Like, and my argument was if you pull Huberdeau off of the Panthers, you still got a really good team. If you pull McDavid off the Edmonton Oilers, you probably have a lottery team again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys caught my article that I put up about the Hart Trophy race, but my vote would have gone to Huberdeau this year, just based on the fact that.
Are you honestly asking that question, Ryan? Are you asking me if I read your article?
Oh, okay, fair enough. You're editor in chief there. But Huberdeau impacted the game in every way. Like the big thing that he did over everybody else was he kills penalties. Right, nobody else that was in contention for the Hart Trophy. Like you added up everybody that was in contention for it, take all their PK time, and they were like a minute and a half more than Huberdeau.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
no, I couldn't disagree more with you. I think that's. I mean, I couldn't agree more with you. I think Huberdeau. Sorry, I could definitely disagree a lot more. Hey, we got Ted on YouTube says who's not going to be back for the Oilers next year. Oh, we lost Ryan.
Yeah.
Somebody turn up the heat in there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the usage of Puljujarvi, the last little while in this series has been diminished. I thought him and Cassian actually did a good job last night, but
yeah,
so
that's probably the best game Puljujarvi.
So I don't know if he becomes the odd man out. I mean, I think we're in a scenario where you're looking to probably do something with the Kane acquisition. You got Ryan McLeod, you've got Yamamoto and Puljujarvi as things that you want to look at, and I think I would seriously give Brett Kulak a little contract as well, because I've liked what I've seen there. So is it Puljujarvi? Is Kane become too expensive for the Edmonton Oilers? There's definitely some questions that are going to need to be answered. Has Cassian's playoff, showing here rekindled the romance between him and the Edmonton Oilers?
I hope not. I really do. I mean, I hope not. I think he's done as better than expected in the playoffs, but I mean, he hasn't been a difference maker, not like 2017. He's been good.
Yeah, I think Archibald has actually picked up the slack for
Archibald is obviously Dash gives him a hard time, but I think he's played amazing.
Yeah, and he has
for a guy that hasn't played much hockey this year. Right?
Yeah, and he hasn't taken the dumb penalties. It's just a physical guy, and I think he can use that. I wish he brought a little bit more offensive dynamic to his game, but he almost scored last night. Yeah, a guy we don't give a lot of noise to had a pretty quiet but effective series is Tyson Barry. He played pretty well in this series, So
Jay Woodcroft's done a great job with him.
Yeah,
there's so I don't know, Ryan. Ted on YouTube asked, who won't be back for the Oilers. That's what started this conversation. And Mike brought up Puljujarvi, and I kind of, what my gut tells me is, given Puljujarvi's situation, and I think there's a lot of teams in the league that would love to have, take him off of the Oilers' hands.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
I could see Ken Holland possibly finding a way to deal Puljujarvi to make enough room in the salary cap. I mean, there'd have to be other pieces obviously involved, but dealing Puljujarvi and freeing up some salary to make a run at Kane. Maybe for
I think there's other ways you can go about it rather than moving Puljujarvi. I still think it's a mistake to move Puljujarvi at this point.
Well, you know what? I don't disagree with you. I feel like, and you guys said Puljujarvi was sick. I don't think that Woodcroft, and I also don't think McDavid has confidence in him. Like if there had to be a problem there, I think that's the problem. I don't think McDavid cares much about the fancy stats, right? That all of us care about, right?
And
like
everybody gave me a hard time for my piece that I did where Puljujarvi's fancies are great, but the production isn't there at a top line level. I think people were more mad that I suggested Cassian as a replacement there. I mean, Cassian, I think Cassian, Yamo, and Puljujarvi are kind of interchangeable on that right side. You can put any of them on that right side with McDavid, and the line will be totally fine. It'll produce what it needs to produce.
If you give Connor a decent left winger.
Yeah, having Evander Kane as his left winger is huge. Absolutely.
Or Leon Draisaitl.
Or Leon, yeah. Or Leon, or Nuge, like somebody.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But I think that right side needs to have a little bit of a shift. I think rebuild's a strong term. Like I think I've been thinking about this for a while.
We don't say that. We don't say that term in oil country anymore.
Yeah, just the right side though. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, Cassian with his 3.2 and how ineffective he's been in the regular season, but like he gets the building going in the playoffs. He has a goal in the series. Like, it's not that he's played amazing, but he stepped it up in the playoffs for sure. Yeah. But Warren Foegele.
Yeah.
Healthy scratch the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Another $3.2 something million.
And we won both games.
Right?
Yeah.
That was something I was gonna bring up too. Like so round 2 gets underway. You know.
There have been times though, Foegele, and I heard that about him before when he came over, is that there's times where he's outstanding in time. Like, he's just such a streaky player. You just don't know which Foegele you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I was going to get at is, do you start the same way you finished?
Hard to go against it. Don't fix what ain't broken. That seems to be the old motto.
Yeah, I mean, Tippett would fix what wasn't broken. Hopefully, Jay isn't that coach.
That's true.
I wanted to say something too. I might as well do it now. You know, you talked for a brief moment about Cody Ceci sniping last night. That was a pretty poised play, that whole play.
It was. He made a nice little move on that release.
And it was a great shot. I mean, he found it. You know, a lot of times some shots, it's just fire the puck at the net and hope. That definitely wasn't that. He zeroed in on a spot and he found it and he hit it. And, you know, thankful.
Like he made a tough, like the way he got the puck off, like he actually pushed the puck away from his body a little bit and then took the shot. Like, that is such a tough thing to do. Like, normally guys will toe drag and put the puck closer to their body and then put it across their bodies like that. No, Cody went outside of his body and then cut it and then hit it short side. But from my view in the arena, like he had that open all day, but like I saw the replay in the broadcast, there wasn't much there.
No, it was a hell of a shot. It was,
yeah.
You know who we haven't mentioned or talked about, and I think has played like he's been to the playoffs every year since he was 10 years old, is Ryan McLeod. Like, I mean, tell me when he's done, he just makes smart plays. Like, he's acting like an old vet, and he, I mean, we're not talking anything, super exciting, but he's just making smart plays. He's getting the puck in deep. He's not been a liability out there, and he's played up and down the lineup wherever Woodcroft needed him. And I've talked about this throughout the season because I still remember, I think I told you guys this, when he was drafted, the year he was drafted, I said something on my show about, the word on him was he didn't like to go to the danger areas, right? And somebody came after me on Twitter and was like, "No, that's not true." You're out to lunch, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a second, that's just what I heard," right? And I mean, that's clearly not he's not afraid to go, get in deep and dirty, and but he's just making good plays, and with the amount, like, I don't know what he played last game, but he's playing about 10, 11 minutes a night, I think, is probably what he's been averaging. And he just goes out and just makes the right. I just love the kid. Like, I think he's been outstanding.
Oh, my friends and I were talking about it while we were watching Game 6 too. He does so many things well, and his speed, like, it confuse him for Connor sometimes because of his speed. And he's getting more and more confident with the puck each game.
Yeah, and if he doesn't produce, as long as when he's out on the ice, he's staying in the offensive zone and he's not a liability, then those are good minutes, right? Like, that's
and like he's actually doing great work on the PK too. Like, he's reading and anticipating plays. He's breaking up plays at the point. He's getting it out. Like, he's done a great job.
So I lied. Last game he had 14 minutes of ice time. That's not bad. Not bad at all.
I think they bumped him up into the top 6 there. Well, top 6 because nobody knew who was coming over the board to win.
Yeah. I mean, but he's been outstanding, and yeah, just nothing to be upset about there.
Oh, certainly. I mean, the only thing that's a little upsetting is that he's an RFA next year. Doesn't have a contract yet. It's like he's in that group with Puljujärvi and Yamo, where you got young kids that are kind of important to the team that you need to sign.
Yamo's arbitration eligible too, so that's going to be a problem. Puljujärvi as well. But so here's the thing: is I could see, Holland dealing Puljujärvi, depending on where he fits, sort of in the. I just my gut tells me that there's something going on there with the leadership of the team, and right or wrong, but I just don't think we see Puljujärvi back next year. If depends on what the Kane situation is, I think.
It's something doesn't with all that doesn't really sit great with me. That Holland sat on that asset for a year and change, and didn't deal it away. And to deal it away now, it just doesn't. It doesn't seem to fit. And Kim's texting me. She's watching interviews upstairs, and I don't think we can call him Sid the Kid anymore in his post game presser. He's a little like me. He's got some white hair mixed in with the brown.
Yeah, I'm a month younger than Sid. Yeah, I've got it happening in a little corner in the beard here.
He's still a kid to me. I've got my whole top of my head's gray hair, so yeah. So it's not. How old is he now?
He'll be 35 in August, because I'll be 35 in September.
Oh yeah. So yeah, he's just over 10 years younger than me. Yeah. And a whole lot richer.
That makes me think, what the hell have I done with my life?
Yeah. I haven't run into him yet around here. But he does. He comes back to Nova Scotia every year, of course. And I've been out to Cole Harbour, where he played all of his hockey. In fact, Josh, I think, played on the same team that Sid played for growing up. Not the same. Like, this was before Sid, not at the same time. But yeah, I mean, he's obviously a legend out here.
I guess. Throw it at you guys, both of you. How many more seasons do you think Sid and Ovi have in them?
I mean, like, I thought Sid was on like, he was the best player in the early going until the Trouba hit, right? Well, not counting Connor McDavid. Right? Yeah.
In their series, yeah.
Like, I mean, he was outstanding, and I mean, OV still scored 50 goals, which is phenomenal to me. So I think OV's still around for 4, maybe 5 seasons, I bet, and Sid too, I would suggest.
Like, are they guys that can play over the age of 40? That's kind of where we're at. I mean, Ovi, I think he's 37. He's got 3 more years until 40. He's been pretty durable in his career. So, I mean, there's a chance, but that's a lot of miles on that body. Sid has had a little more tough luck with the injuries, especially. And, like, I don't think what happened to him in this series is going to help with his concussion issue any. So, I don't know. I'd say Ovi has a bit. I mean, obviously, Ovi's older, but I think as far as like how far into life they can play, I think Ovi's a little more suited to go a little deeper. But I think that gives each of them probably about 4 or 5 more years. I think you're right, Michael.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Did Patrice Bergeron come into the league same time as Crosby too?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of
close. They were on that World Junior team together.
Yeah, a lot of smoke that he's gonna shut her down here.
Oh, really?
Talk about another guy that's had a lot of hard miles on him, a bunch of injuries throughout his career too.
Yeah, 2 years older. 2 years older. Yeah. I mean, and you know, I mean, whether this counts for anything, but he's got kids too, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that counts, right? Like for something, like I think these guys, they don't, you know, there's a certain age at which, right?
Don't need to stay anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, Ovi's maybe a little bit different, but Crosby on the other end. Is Crosby even married?
I don't know.
think he's even married.
I don't think so.
I know he's got a girlfriend or something, but
Does he still live in Mario's basement?
yeah, he very well could. Yeah.
He's transformed from Sid the Kid into Sid the I live on my own now.
Sid the middle-aged man.
That's right. Yeah.
I'll be back in some guys.
Okay.
All right. Third period puck drop. Already
right,
happened
there we
for
go.
Lotzie, but just happened for me.
It's about to happen for me. We're back in it, third period.
So what do we want to do here? We want to stay on till there's a winner, or
Well,
at
let's
least
play it by
for the
ear.
third.
So I'm not sure I'm necessarily willing to do that for 3 overtimes or something.
Yeah. I kind of think the Stars probably, drew it up that they were going to take this into the 6th overtime.
Oh yeah,
Get it.
and that's the way this series has been, right? Like, that's the one thing we other than the Pittsburgh New York overtime, there haven't been any long overtimes. Have there even been a lot of overtimes in this playoffs?
No.
There's been the Oilers one, which lasted a minute and a bit, but
Yeah, no, not that many. I don't think.
trying to think.
And usually that's a a story of the first round is lots of overtime games. But
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and.
ooh, careful! It's icy out there.
Somebody just fall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I look at that like Goudreau's been he's had a couple of good opportunities and not buried them, which I think, in the regular season he buries those. And I feel like it's just like a half second, of like I don't want to get absolutely pummeled, right? Man, Ettinger just made another beauty save. At some point, it gets in your head, right, that you can't beat a goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's just not going to happen. And then you stop shooting, and that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
So shots, I think, are 45-13 maybe now. And Dallas is perfectly comfortable playing a game where they get victimized on the shot clock.
Oh, yeah. And why not, right? Like if
Yeah.
I'm just going through the games to see how many overtimes there were. The first one was Penguins and the Rangers.
Oh.
Is there a goal scored?
No, Stars came close to beating Markstrom, but got a piece of it.
Oh, yeah. I just saw it. Hate being so far behind in this game.
Yeah.
I don't know what your beef is being behind the game. I don't know what that's like.
I'm just counting overtimes right now. I'm going through how many overtime games there were.
Yeah, there really haven't been that many.
There have been
Pittsburgh had a couple with the
7.
Rangers there.
7 overtime games. Yeah, and considering 5 series went to 7 games, right?
Yeah, that's really odd.
That's crazy.
Considering last year against Winnipeg, we had 3 overtime games alone.
Yeah, I mean that was like playing 6 or 7 games in one series, right?
Yeah,
yeah. And that was the longest sweep, I think, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, we did take him to 6.
Yeah. I honestly like.
Oh, that looks like interference at the benches there. course, it's not because it isn't because it's the playoffs. But
Yeah, I've seen a couple of non-calls in this game for sure.
oh,
Oh yeah, pulling them right down there. Yeah, it's not been. I mean, Calgary's obviously played. I think Ettinger's clearly in their head.
Oh, Thatcher Demko against the Golden Knights a couple of years ago in the bubble.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Vegas still found a way to win that series.
do we want to talk about the Canucks for a minute?
Do we want to talk about the Canucks?
Did I read that? Did Boudreau extend?
Yes.
Oh, did
Yeah.
he? Oh,
Did I miss
nice.
that?
I think that is correct. I think he got a contract extension. Yeah.
That's a good find for them, honestly. I mean, you did well for them throughout most of the season.
I mean, did they kind of get to what you guys expected they would be this year, or did you think they were going to be a lot better? Or, I mean, Demko's a pretty good goalie, and it seems like Vancouver doesn't mind parting ways with good goaltending, like Markstrom's in Calgary, right?
Yeah, Markstrom would still be there if they didn't trust Demko. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
But no, the Canucks, I had higher expectations for them. I've had higher expectations for them in the last two seasons, and maybe I should lower my expectations a little bit. But what happened to Elias Pettersson this year?
Yeah. He had moments where he was good and moments where he was awful, or just not awful, but just disappeared.
Yeah, just not there. And like Brock Besser, again, same thing. He just kind of disappeared. Had some injury issues, I guess, but still.
And that team seems to have like inner turmoil, and it doesn't make much sense. They're a bunch of young guys, but seems to be like their dressing room is a mess.
The big question is, where does Trotz end up?
Yeah,
Like that was a huge surprise to me, and I just think what a mistake. In fact, I know a lot of Islanders fans, and they're upset about it. Yeah. Like I just don't.
I would be too.
Yeah.
that has a Gerard Gallant Vegas kind of feel to it almost.
Oh, I mean, the thing with the Islanders this year is if anybody had an excuse for a poor season, the Islanders, right? Like, they just, what did they start, like 15 games on the road, their first 15 or something?
Waiting for their rink to be finished. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
And then they got nailed with like COVID, and like if anybody had like a Cinderella luck season, Calgary. If we're watching teams, like they had 0 injuries this year. As soon as COVID hit the lineup, they were the one team that they canceled games for. Right? Like most of the teams had to battle through, 2 or 3 good players being out with COVID this year.
Yeah.
Kim's texting me again. She says, in Calgary there, it sounds like they're chanting awkward for Ottinger.
No, I think Calgary was like they were the most surprising of all the teams that finished really high in the regular season. Like, how about Matthew Tkachuk with over 100 points? Like, did anybody see that coming?
No. I mean, that line really took off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the whole team surprised me. I said, and I still would say this, if you'd asked me at the beginning of the season which lineup I would have rather started the season with, I still would have picked Edmonton.
Yeah, and I'd still be prepared to pick Edmonton in a series right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually, to that, I was going to say that earlier. What amazes me, because I always complain about the Eastern NHL media, is Edmonton's record, right? Other than if you take out that sort of bad part of their record, they are like one of the top teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They have been for some time. And
Stars are kind of funny here. They like I said earlier, they sleepwalk for, probably about 7 or 8 shifts, and then they decide, okay, we're going to try to do something here, and then they come out and just kind of get really dangerous chances.
Have they scored or no?
No, they didn't score, but they just, it's just funny to watch them play. And they just play so like contained and composed that they don't change their game at all, but every once in a while they just take the puck and decide to go and do something.
Yeah.
Very comfortable in playing a game where they're getting like 2-1 chances against them.
Yeah, that's what scares me. Like teams like that are scary.
Yeah, well, like given the fact that that's how our Game 7 went, right?
Yeah, LA did enough to just hang around, keep in it. I was comfortable, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I was like, all it takes is one little deflection or something.
Yeah. Okay,
now they've decided to up the ratio probably to 3-1 instead of 7-1.
Yeah, I'm watching here, and Dallas is giving a little bit of a pushback.
Yep, they certainly are. They had run a really good chance. I couldn't see who it was. They just put it right over the net from the slot.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. I'm just having a snack.
No, it's all good. This is probably the longest I've streamed anything for a long time.
Kind of has that feel that if Dallas does get that third goal, it's going to be real tough for Calgary.
Oh yeah. Well, this whole I'd say next goal wins would be my thinking. And this has not been the an offensive like
display.
Yeah. It's which is crazy when you think about, Calgary's season, right? I mean, there's nobody that predicted, even with them playing Dallas, that there would be, this few goals scored, right? I know I didn't.
Like, where did Calgary's depth go? Just disappeared in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, that comes down to playing against Gaudreau hard, right? Like, I think it's just a small. When I watch him, my own personal opinion, because there's probably a lot of folks that would disagree, I think he just plays the puck like a half second sooner to avoid the checks, right? And I think it's just enough to get him off of his game. Like, we all know that Gaudreau is capable of putting up tons of points, right? Like, he's an offensive player. He's capable of getting there, right? But I just think with the way they, like, there's been a couple of, I'd say, egregious hits on him, and nobody's really kind of gone to his defense in the same manner that they would have in the regular season, right?
No, definitely not.
I should have turned the sound on my TV a little bit here, because they just showed a highlight package of Lucic in Boston, and the whole thing was highlights of him in Boston, and it really made no sense to me why.
We're talking about Game 7s with him.
No,
like Game 7s from 10 years ago.
Okay.
There.
I still, I don't think, like, Flames fans don't realize just how devastating he was to our top line, right? Like, that they think they won that trade. I don't think we won it either. I just think we didn't lose it. Is my, every time I got a Flames fan friend that, oh, we killed you guys on that Lucic trade. I just don't feel that way. I think we won just for the sake of getting rid of him.
Yeah.
We got 19 goals out of James Neal that year.
Yeah. And then ripped off on that ruling. Yeah. Which I still don't get.
Oh man. Oh, the text line is still open here. They gotta put the children to bed if you're listening. So Kim says, Lucic watching a lion video to learn a lion mentality, or just getting comfortable with being a pussy.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think she actually likes Milan, so I don't think she really thinks that. But she was crushed yesterday when her Bruins kind of bowed out.
I liked Lucic for one season.
For one playoff series.
One playoff series. That was it. That's where my love for Lucic ended.
Yeah, I mean, I was guilty of being a little too excited when he came here, but my only sense of hesitation there was it was a sign that Charlie was leaning more towards a heavy style of hockey, which just was the wrong way. Like, it was just behind the curve.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, I think the heavy style of hockey that you have to have going forward is to subscribe to heavyhockey.net. But Evander Kane, I mean, the guy can skate too, right? He can keep up, and he can play.
That's the difference.
And he can play physical, and he can put the puck in the net.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been a big surprise, eh?
Yeah. Like, I expected him to be good, but he's even exceeded my expectations.
And through the course of a season, I guess he hasn't played like a full season, but you expect some guys to just some nights not have it. That doesn't seem to be the case with him. It seems like you get the same thing with the guy night after night after night.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
he goes to the dirty areas. Like, I feel like he could, like, his hit total makes what I'm about to say look a little bit deceiving, but like, I feel like he could be a little bit more imposing physically. Like, I feel like he could go for the bigger hit a little bit more often. But I mean, you can't fault the guy for scoring like half a goal or a goal. But yeah, about half a goal a game. Like, that's kind of a ridiculous pace for a guy that hadn't played for half a season and came to a new team.
Yeah. Oh, geez. No penalty there?
Not anymore. It's overtime.
Yeah. I think so.
Oh, good save there.
You guys might see it soon, but surprise, surprise. Another save from Ottinger.
Oh, man.
Yeah. In tight. There's a good chance too. On
Goudreau again. There you go.
Yeah. I was pretty sure it was Goudreau, but then I saw Coleman on the ice. I'm like, what? Why is he on the ice? But yeah, it was Goudreau.
Oh, man.
That acquisition of Kane too, there was all that talk of us needing to become harder to play against. And I guess it's a little bit more than Kane, because for the playoffs, I mean, Josh Archibald is now a factor too. And Puliarvi was hitting people last night. Like,
yeah, that was noticeable, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And I think that's been his big issue all series. Is just,
and they weren't necessarily bone crunching hits, but I mean, he was finishing his check.
Oh man, did they just miss that one?
He was a factor.
I'm 20 seconds back, so you guys don't even know what I'm talking about. But
yeah,
there were a couple Dallas chances there.
Yeah.
Puliarvi was definitely wading into the series. I think he needed to just be a little bit more assertive, a little more physical. Like, he's got that big frame. He's got to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we know he can. I mean, there have been instances where he's played that style of game. I mean, he's not. Well, I shouldn't say that style of game where he's used his frame a little bit more.
Absolutely, you guys are about to see a big chance here.
Yeah, Markstrom outweighted him.
But like, if you see a guy like Connor McDavid, first shift of the game last night, just fucking excuse my language, just decked Sean Durzi.
Oh, man.
Like, he just leveled Sean Durzi.
Yeah.
First shift. Like, Puliarvi should be doing that far more often. Like, Connor McDavid can't be having more big hits in a series than you.
I dropped the P word earlier, so I think the score is tied.
All right. I'll tell you what, and like I said before, going into the playoffs, I completely expected a different Connor McDavid, and he's come out. He's been like, he is now the everything player. Defensively, he's making body checks. He's doing everything that he would ask of his teammates. He's going out there and doing. And if there is a better leader out there, then I don't know who it is, because that hit to me was exactly what's going to make him so great. And if there is even the slightest chance that the Oilers can go all the way, it's going to be because he decided that they're going all the way, right? My biggest concern is, which is everybody's, is can Mike Smith hold up for 16 wins plus all the games it takes to get there? But
it's fair.
Yeah. But McDavid will.
You're right about McDavid. Like, my first thought as soon as he had that hit on Thursday, I was like, okay, everybody else has to follow suit now. Like, if your superstar captain is doing that, there's no excuses for you to not do it.
That's
you bringing up Smitty there and can he do it and all that. I don't know, for some reason made me think about what was going on in Minnesota in their series. They ride Fleury through 6 games, and then they go to Cam Talbot in game 7.
Oh, yeah.
And they kind of get lit up. Is Cam done in Minnesota now? What happens there?
I just can't believe they did that to him personally.
Yeah, they had no reason to go out and get Fleury.
No.
They didn't need him.
Yeah, I think they got their just desserts.
I don't mind the acquisition of Fleury. So you've got 2 goalies. I think Vegas was a better team when they had Leonard and Fleury both. You had two pretty clutch goalies, but Cam Talbot down the stretch really played really well for them to get him into the playoffs.
One of the best goalies in the league at that point, right?
Yeah. And then to go away from him as soon as the playoffs start, I mean, that can't feel good if you're Cam. And what does that say to your team?
Well, and the other thing is, it's not like Talbot has a poor playoff history. When he was in Edmonton, he was awesome, right? He was one of the reasons we got through a round.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it seemed like
Cam, why they lost last year either.
No.
Yeah, it really seemed like Cam sort of resurrected his career there, and then that happens to him. I don't know. Something tells me that something's going to happen there.
Yeah, he got the Fleury treatment, right? I mean, you could have done the same graphic image of him being stabbed in the back. That
Right.
Fleury, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know any competitive athlete, anyone for that matter. There's no way they're going to be happy with that.
So has this playoff, really made us do a 180 with our thought process on Mike Smith? Is he kind of proven to us that maybe he's got more time in him?
I think it's going to show that
it's day to day.
It's day to day, but we're over dramatic as fans, especially about the course of an 82-game season. Like, a guy makes a mistake or doesn't play well for a few games. Oh my God, he's the worst contract ever signed. Why the hell did we sign this guy? Our GM's a moron. And then he does something like gets 2 shutouts in a 7-game series win, and it's okay,
the shutout in game 7.
Yeah, great. Right. What a great job. He's the second oldest goalie to ever do it.
Yeah.
You can ask for more, but you'll never get it. I mean, that's as good as you can do. So.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, he was outstanding. He had an outstanding. My challenge, though, is not whether he's a capable goalie. My challenge is,
durability.
Yeah, durability. Right.
Yeah,
I mean, when he's
if you
healthy,
throw Koskinen. Yeah. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, sorry, I'm done. Yeah, I was good.
At what point do you throw Koskinen in? At what point is it smart to throw Koskinen in? Do you hope you get a lead in a series and then say, okay, Mikko, let's give Mike a rest? Or do you dare put him in when a series is tied or when you're trailing?
I think you're waiting for that blowout game just to give Smith relief in it.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I
There
hadn't
were a
even
couple of
thought
those
about
earlier
that.
in the series.
Yeah, hadn't even thought about that. To be fair, like
Well,
guess,
there was talk during. I think it was like it might have been after Game 5 or something. With I can't remember if it was like Walking Gage with Nielsen and those guys or something, but goalies like Marc-Andre Fleury and Smitty, the older goalies that to play that many games in a short period of time is really against what they're kind of capable of doing. So you might want to get another guy in there, but were you going to go to Mikko in Game 6? I don't think that was really ever even a thought.
No.
yeah, and I mean, obviously, there's going to be consultation with Mike Smith, right? Like, how you feeling, and
Well, what's he gonna say? Oh, I'm feeling terrible. Start Mikko.
That's the thing.
Well,
that's
yeah.
the other thing scares me about Mike Smith is he.
Yeah. You're never going to get anything outside of, I'm good to go.
Yeah. I mean, I got it from good sources that he's played injured a couple of games where he shouldn't have. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And I wouldn't doubt that that's been the case in a game in this series by itself, in the last series.
So is it me, or does it look like Dallas is making a good push here at the end? Like
They're pushing. They're trying.
it's like they dummied them for the first couple of periods, and now
I don't think I'll play that. No, I'll just eat it. Good decision, young man.
Nice stick there.
Yeah,
I'm not there yet.
Robertson. You'll see the replay.
That was something I noticed last night too, getting a lot of sticks in lanes and
Oh yeah.
and blocks, and Chris Russell comes in and I think he was defense wins championships. He's a good defensive defenseman, and
Yeah, he is.
I don't have a problem with him being out there. I was almost thinking like using him in almost like a strictly penalty killing role though, because he is outstanding on the PK. I think that's really his strong suit.
Who's that?
Yep.
Russell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like if people look at his Corsi numbers or his fancy stats, they're not great. But like what he does well is he defends well. Like, I don't think there's a true metric out there that really measures that yet, in all honesty. So like a guy like Chris Russell, he spends most of his time defending. He looks awful, but like honestly, he's such a smart defender.
Yeah. No, he is always in the way of everything.
Yep.
I think that was always the knock on me when I played is the stats didn't match exactly how I felt about my game.
I was getting in the way, but not of the puck.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look at that Tampa Bay game against Toronto, right? And they talked about it in the in the intermissions or at the end of the game, is how many shots Tampa Bay got in the way of, and they're right. Like that's playoff hockey, right? Like quite often it'll come down to how many people sacrifice their body to get in the way of the pucks, and that's going to be the difference in a lot of games. And the Oilers did a hell of a job, right? Just making sure the sticks were there. And
there's the famous story about the Glory Days Oilers and how they watched the Islanders after the Islanders beat them, and they're icing all their bruises and treating themselves after their win, and it's like, oh, okay, that's what it takes.
That was a very good chance there.
Yeah, and that was a
beautiful
Gaudreau loss, like Gaudreau giveaway at the blue line.
Amazing use of the screen.
Yeah,
just hit the post.
Oh, nice pass by Dellandrea.
Yeah, and then went right to the net, and they did everything right except clang straight off the pipe.
Be a good name for a podcast.
Allegedly.
Yeah, this Calgary started taking this game, but this is kind of like it's an exciting game, but only in my mind because it's a game 7, right? Like this has been the kind of series. This has been very tight checking, and
Like it's tense. Like if I was a Flames fan or a Stars fan watching this, I'd be tense.
yeah.
Oh,
I missed something.
like that was Mangiapane.
Ooh, boy. Whew. Not the place to turn it over.
Oh, I'm about to see it right now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The right guy to turn it over too, apparently.
Yeah.
But,
Last night was a fairly mistake-free game. There's a lot of mistakes out here on the ice tonight.
Yeah, both ends.
Yeah. Like it was pretty tight last night. We got lots of shots, but I mean it was a tight game.
yeah, like all the Kings' chances were like from the point. And anytime they did get control of the puck around the goal line, they were able to snuff it out.
Liam O'Hallahan, that one of your friends there, Dursa?
Yes, I know young Liam. He's a fine basketball player. Yeah.
Well, he said, "Let's go, Mike." So you got a cheering section there.
I would say he's probably watching on the Facebook.
Yeah, sure is. Yeah, thanks, Liam, for tuning in.
Yes, the boy can dunk with the best in the province. He's
oh yeah, nice.
exciting player to watch in the ACAC. I don't know if he's got a year left of eligibility, but I believe last year he played for Concordia.
Oh really? Nice.
Yeah. He started his career in Grand Prairie, but moved on to greener pastures in Edmonton, allegedly. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, if you're watching at home, you can write a letter to Sportsnet and ask them to give us permission to actually rebroadcast their broadcast in the future, so we can be like, the Peyton and Eli Manning, because that's
Monday Night Football.
That's what we want to do here for you.
Preferably,
or they can just hire us.
Preferably Oilers games rather than this.
Yes, that is the goal.
I mean, this has been nice because I didn't have to listen to Rick Ball tonight.
No, is that? So I'm curious what if Calgary's in it, is that who ends up calling the
next series? I think it's, I don't think so. I think it'll be Hanner. I don't know how to say
Hanner.
Yeah, I think it'll be him and Louis.
Somebody pointed this out too. I mean, Toronto's out. This would be the only Canadian interest. Could be Craig and Jim, or
that's true.
Chris Cuthbert. And Chris.
Yeah. So is Jim Houston basically retired now?
Yeah, I know he is retired. I don't know why I said Jim. Is Chris Cuthbert?
Did he get retired in a kind of a package, or was that his decision? Because
I'm pretty sure it was his decision.
Okay, because it almost seems like he got forced out, and I a lot of people didn't like Jim Houston. I didn't. I liked his calls.
Yeah, I liked his calls too. We had no issues with Jim. And gents, we have overtime.
Go figure.
I'm probably good to hang around for at least half or one overtime, but after that, I think I don't care as much anymore.
I'm a night owl, so I'll be tuning in, but I don't think I'm gonna stay on the stream for that long. But this is
I'm following you guys' lead here. I'll probably end up watching it all, but I have to work in the morning.
Yeah. This would have been last night as an Oilers fan exactly what I didn't want to see. Like, overtime in a game 7.
Yeah.
is absolutely the worst and most heartbreaking way to lose,
Yeah.
right?
Especially the way we played game fives overtime, like having that in the back of your mind.
Oh yeah. Oh man, like
Nope.
I just would hate it.
Really glad they got it done in regulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Like I was sitting there in the rink last night with like 8.5 minutes left, and that was when the Kings were starting to push a little bit. We were starting to sit back, and we were content to just get it deep in their end and go for a change. And I was like, "Can we sit back and defend for 8.5 minutes?"
No.
And we did.
The answer was yes.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
able to, and then Connor got a goal. So there you go.
Yeah. And a beauty.
And a beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely picked the right time in the series to lock it down.
Not about how you start. It's all about how you finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's true, right? I've just
I mean-
you know, if you weren't here for the first 2 hours of our stream and watch, we might have mentioned in those first 2 hours about 20 times just how good Connor McDavid is. may have come up, may or may not have come up. Yeah, I put out there, like, I just this every season, right? Like, there's somebody new that somebody wants to say is better than Connor McDavid for X reason. And then he does something just to kind of prove everybody wrong. But it's like, you know, they'll forget it. Next year it'll be the same thing. Like, how many times did we see Flames fans trying to tell us Gaudreau was better than Connor McDavid? Right? What Eric Francis's article, did you guys see that? Expected
No.
goals per 60 or points per 60. 5-on-5, or no, not just 5-on-5, but Gaudreau's points per 60, he led the whole league by a lot. And so he went, I heard him on live on Sirius XM, and then he doubled down on it with a tweet basically saying if he played as many minutes as McDavid and Draisaitl, he would be like, he'd absolutely kill them in points, was his whole right. Like, I mean, you know, he I think he was picking on Draisaitl, who, right, like, he forgets to factor in plays actual penalty killing minutes and everything else, like every situation.
I mean, that's cute that he thinks that, but
I mean, that's just it, right. Like, oh man, I couldn't believe it, because here's a guy that, like, is around the league on a regular basis. You'd could figure that one out on his own. But wasn't it like just last year he was basically lambasting Gaudreau? He'll be back to lambasting Gaudreau in no time. I notice, by the way, a little pattern here. We get a few extra listeners on all the platforms come intermission. People don't want to listen to us during game time, I guess.
Or they just don't want to listen to the panel at intermission.
That's right. They're tuning the panel out, and we're the lesser evil. Yeah.
I mean, none of us have the same kind of suits that Elliot Friedman has. He's got I like the fuchsia look that he's got going on tonight.
He is. What do you guys
got
think of
some
the
suits.
panel? I mean, this is I've enjoyed Botterill. I think she's been great. Bieksa, though, some people love him, some people hate him. I'm more along the side of, I actually like the guy. I hated him as a player, like any good Oilers fan. But I like the guy on the.
Well, again, I think Bieksa's done a great job on the panel. Like, he gives it to you straight, and like he breaks it down, because like it's kind of like the Tony Romo effect, where like he can break it down the game in a way that most other people can't. And like he'll take jabs at Elliott or Brian Burke or anybody who happens to be on stage with him. Like, he's entertaining and he's informative too. So
Yeah.
I like Bieksa.
I hate that I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm in the same
Yeah.
boat. And
but I really enjoy listening to him.
you know what I like, actually, is I like the between him and Friedman, like the little play the two of them have, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're always chirping each other, and you know, not like a hatred thing. Like, it's just good old fashioned chirps.
He's got a good sense of humor. It's kind of dry, but it's sharp and witty. And when they were in the bubble and he was doing the panel basically from his home, how he changes backgrounds up and have something comical there. I don't know. I hated him when he was in Vancouver and Anaheim, but I definitely don't mind to listen to him on the panel. And, a lot of what he says is right. And I like Jennifer Botterill also. And when he's dead wrong, she'll call him out on it. And I think that makes for good TV.
Yeah. Yeah, I could do without Rudy. A couple years back, I liked him, but I think he spent too much time on the Calgary desk.
Yeah, no, I don't usually agree with what Kelly says. Like, I don't think he brings any sort of real insight into the game anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
If I have a knock with Kelly Rudy, it's a fragility thing. Like, I don't know, everything is more than what it really is on the ice with him, and I don't really like what he says doesn't resonate with me.
Bieksa calls him out though, right? Like, that's one of the things I like. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, Kelly comes at it from a goalie's perspective, and Kevin comes at it from a hard-nosed, gritty, tough as nails kind of defenseman standpoint, and I think I gravitate towards that a little bit more than the goalie's point of view.
Well, let's be honest.
Bob the goalie, if you're watching.
Yeah. But any of us that have played outside of the net for our hockey lives know that the goalie at intermission always has shit to say. None of it. He can only see from one end of the ice, doesn't see what's going on the other end of the ice, but yet seemingly understands how to play offense, which is why they're in between the, stick to what you know is my thought process on that. But of course now I'm probably blacklisted in any league I go to. No goalie's going to like me anymore. But they are always the most vocal, right? Like, on both the offensive and defensive side, at intermission. Some goalies are worse than others, but.
Well, you gained some points with the refs with what you said to Luchansky, so.
Oh, man. Luchansky. Well, we got King Warburn is listening in on Twitch tonight. He's been, give or take, the only guy on Twitch. Twitch is not a big stream for us, by the way, for anybody that's out there. But he said... because he's the only one on Twitch listening in, I shall henceforth be known as King Warburn, and I can't argue with that. But his dad is a Flames fan, and he's theoretically, he says, a Vancouver fan, but he doesn't have the cable anymore. He's listening in so he can talk about the game with his father tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in. We've probably lost Josh, who it was his bedtime. My guess is about 2 hours ago. Well, we've got some listeners on YouTube and Facebook. Of course, Liam's still there on Facebook and Twitter. We never know how many people are sitting and listening in on Twitter, unfortunately, which is too bad. But who are you guys going to take? If let's maybe wind down here and just a couple predictions before we call it a night and go our separate ways. For the Flames, Mike, who would you take for the overtime goal?
The one that seems to be snake bitten all night.
Gaudreau.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because right. I know it's not going to happen, and I don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
And I'll go with Jamie Benn for Dallas.
Jamie Benn for Dallas. Okay. Lotzi.
Yeah, Calgary's depth has just been invisible all series. I'll go someone off the top line for Calgary. I'll go Elias Lindholm. That 65 flex stick that he used.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Back in the net.
That's unbelievable.
Dallas, tough call. Roope Hintz, why not?
All right, Hintz. Yeah. Oh, is he playing tonight? I thought he was out tonight.
Okay, I don't know. I haven't been paying that close of attention.
Yeah. No, he's out tonight. He's been out.
Okay, well,
that's why you haven't heard his name much.
That's
Joe Pavelski, man.
That's your Peter Klima dark horse of the night call.
That's right.
Yeah. It's gonna emerge.
Healthy scratch.
Yeah.
No,
Not
okay,
a
I'll
healthy
change mine
scratch,
to-
but he was scratched like right moments before game time. So he
Okay,
was
yes,
supposed
yeah.
to play.
Now we're sitting here chatting. I haven't been paying that close attention
Yeah.
to all the combos and stuff.
Pavelski is a good pick. I'll take Robertson for Dallas. I think he's due for some heroics. And for Calgary, I don't know. Maybe let's go with defenseman. Let's go with Michael Stone.
Had to be a Michael, didn't it?
It did. There's not enough Michaels in this world, as we know. But that's who I pick. We'll come back tomorrow.
Okay.
We've got video evidence.
Before you end the show, I gotta have a little rant here.
All right, rant away.
Mikey Anderson. Mikey.
Is that what he's going by?
Mikey. Really? Like Mikey likes it. Like that's gonna be your name that you use as a professional athlete. You're going with Mikey.
Mikey.
Sorry, any Mike I know doesn't, really love being called Mikey, but they put up with it. But to go with that as your
Is that what
your
he's
name.
going as?
Yeah.
I had no
Yeah,
idea.
he was announced as the starting defenseman for the Kings every game. Mikey Anderson.
I'll get over it eventually.
I totally.
This reminds me of a rant I used to have about Willie Mitchell with the Kings. I was like, who the hell names their kid Willie?
I'm guessing that's why they used Billy as the as the alternative. All right, guys. Well, not our typical show tonight, but it's been fun watching the game with you guys, and thanks to all those people that tuned in across all the different platforms. I probably won't be doing a Tuesday show this week again, so it's 2 Tuesdays in a row, but we're going to continue with our Heavy Hockey post games on youtube.ca/heavyhockey. Although it doesn't look like we're going to get a Game 7 done, so we're going to miss one. Check out on Twitter. I've been doing some pretty neat little GIFs and going to continue doing them. But Draisaitl goal you can search for, Cassian goal, and McDavid goal. We'll get you some Heavy Hockey GIFs on there. You have to look for them, but you'll see them. And I've got another one coming up. What am I missing? We got some articles coming out soon as well on heavyhockey.com, www.heavyhockey.com. Some of the guys, I know Eric Friesen's got one coming up. Lutzy, you working on anything?
Yeah, I got a couple ideas in mind. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and actually start, but I think I'm working on a piece about the Woodcroft and McClellan matchup, and
Nice.
I'll do something a little more broad scoped, big picture about where we are in the grand scheme of things with McDavid's evolution and the team's evolution. So a couple ideas in the pipe.
Yeah, perfect. All right, and Dursa, I don't know if I never ask you, but you and I don't write a ton of articles, but we do on occasion. You got anything in the mix that you're thinking of?
Yeah, no, not much in the old memory banks right now. I've been starting to play with learning how to do some video editing and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of taken over, trying to make little YouTube videos for pumping people up for the playoffs and that kind of stuff. So
have some hype videos and some other stuff. So we'll do some fun stuff. And also, anybody else that's out there that wants to maybe contribute to heavyhockey.com, please let us know. We'd love to have more contributors. There's been one thing I've been thinking about doing or getting people to contribute with is a written post-game after every game, which would be nice. Just a little, game story. Something to kind of keep people coming to the site and maybe a little bit of an idea of what happened each game. So we'll talk about that. Looks like they're going to start overtime, so we'll maybe cut it here. Thanks, guys, for stopping by.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks guys. This was fun.
It was fun being superimposed over top of you two. All
You're right in front. You're right in front of me. I can see you from here.
That's right. That's right.
Staring at the back of your head the last 2 hours.
Yeah.
We don't. I don't think we need to stick on. So everybody have a great night. See you later. Bye. Bye, guys.
You guys.